at the NPOs in order to strengthen our monitoring and evaluation. To this end, Bank SETA and MERSETA collaborated with the department and provided funding for 18 interns who are qualified in financial management. I'm glad to report that the Bank SETA committed to extend the contracts of the interns with a further 12 months in the 2023-24 financial year. During this financial year, under review, National Department of Social Development, in partnership with the Health and Welfare Sector Education and Training Authority, made available 500 fully funded learnerships for employees of all provincial departments of social development. 51 employees expressed interest in these learnerships in the categories of child and youth care workers and social auxiliary workers on NQF level 4 and level 5. This will enhance their skills and knowledge and ensure that they provide quality and improved service to our communities. We'll further collaborate with HW SETA to provide similar learnerships for the unemployed child and youth care and social auxiliary workers. Honorable Speaker, I have further engaged the Free State Training and Development Institute to provide our department with learnership and internship in the areas of security, cleaning, and hygiene, TVET, and graduate internships. Candidates will be recruited from across the province, and this will contribute to the creation of the employment of youth in the Free State. During 2023-24 financial year, the department will fill critical vacancies at the residential care facilities, targeting nursing professionals and center managers. This will improve the delivery of services at the departmental institutions, which remain a critical implementation arm of the department. Under infrastructure planning and facilities management, we have, in the previous budget speeches, committed to set aside funds for the maintenance of our government buildings. Although some of the planned renovations could not be done due to budget reprioritization, we have to date managed to prioritize these institutions so as to enable us to register them. As we are all quite aware, Honorable Speaker, that these institutions that we are having within the province are not yet registered, all of them. And it clearly indicates that as the department, we are not complying. And we'll be targeting the following institutions: Leratong Child and Youth Care Center, Thabo Mofusanyana Secure Care Center, Botshabelo Old Age Home. Under Sirelesong Child Youth Care Center, Honorable Speaker, the project of renovating Sirelesong Child and Youth Care Center, which is executed by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, is anticipated to be completed during the first quarter of the current financial year. The main focus of the department is to ensure that all our institutions comply with the registration requirements. We will not tire in our efforts to ensure that our institutions are registered, because it is our firm belief that our communities deserve nothing but the best from us as a department. The department improved its audit outcome in 2021-2022 financial year to unqualified with findings and aspires for improvement in the 2022-2023 financial year. It was also indicated in the previous budget vote speech that the department will not be able to get a clean audit for as long as the Engo debt is not settled. And I kitumela hore mo primary taba ya Engo re a ikgakgatha jwalo ka lefapha o tla phumola le wena moyeng. Allow me to indicate to this August House that I am pleased to report, Honorable Speaker, that at 14 April 2023, Honorable Speaker and the Premier we managed to settle the outstanding amount of Engo. And it is an achievement from our side and the entire collective of the Executive Council. This means that for 2023-2024 financial year, the department stands a chance to obtain the clean audit. As at 31 March 2023, all service providers were paid within 30 days in line with the Treasury regulations and the dictates of the Executive Council. Injunction of 2022-2023 will continue, Honorable Speaker, to prioritize women, youth, and people with disabilities owned companies when we procure goods and services. Under social welfare services, services to persons with disabilities. Madam Speaker, during the 2022-23 financial year, in addition to Thabo Mofusanyana and Fezile Dabi, district committees were established, parents committees of children with disabilities in Lejolipusa, Kharib and Mangaung Metro District. This is an important milestone because it will encourage these parents to ensure that their children attend mainstream education instead of hiding them at home as per the previous practices. For the 2023-24 financial year, we'll continue to support such structures through capacity building and working together with the sector departments, particularly the Department of Basic Education. The department will continue to fund 24 protective workshops with an allocated budget of 3.170 million. These protective workshops are meant to equip persons with disabilities with skills to become economically active and provide them with social services. In our strive to further empower and ensure the independence of personalities, 5 of these protective workshops will be supported to become sustainable, viable cooperatives. Will, in partnership with the STEER and other stakeholders, facilitate their access to training as well as networking and marketing opportunities in order to ensure that they sell their products and generate income. The department, in cooperation with the National Department of Social Development and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, that is JICA, which provides aid promoting economic and social development, empowerment to children and people with disability in Thabo Mofusanyana, our district mayor, will extend their cooperation agreement for a further 3 years. And this is an achievement to Thabo Mofusanyana. Under care services to older persons, the provision of care and protection to the elderly remains key in our day-to-day operations of the department. We do not underestimate the importance of taking care of the men and women that brought us to this earth, sacrificing their time, energy, and at times very limited resources to ensure that we become the adults that we are today. Sadly, we have seen how some of our senior citizens are exploited, abused, and neglected, and unregistered residential facilities for older persons. Mama Chiche Mukwakwe, the 73-year-old who passed on the 19th of July 2022 outside Biketong Old Age Home in Gelekvas, here in Kroonstad. We pass once more our sympathies to the family and pray that Nkgono Mukwakwe continues to rest in peace. We request that our NPOs continue to identify illegal centers in our communities. These are fast becoming a pandemic. 52.148 million for this purpose in the current financial year. It is worth mentioning, Speaker, that more than 85% of allocation has been for residential care. Selemon Sena motsamaisi wa dipuisano ntumelle ke bua ka puo ya mme ya letswaele ke hlalose hore maqheku le maqhekwana a Freestata a tlo nka karolo ho di Golden Games tse tla tshwarelwa mane Mpumalanga ka October selemong sena sa 2023. Jwale lefapha le tla sebetsa le lefapha la dipapadi bonono le botjhaba tlasa botsamaisi ba mme Mahasa ho netefatsa hore ba fumana ditlhoko tsohle jwalo ka diaparo, bodulo, dijo le dipalangwang tse tla ba fihlisa Mpumalanga le ho kgutla. Ene ke tshepa hore maqheku a rona le maqhekwana a rona a le loela mahala mo be le tla monana le sa wina le win. Re ya Mpumalanga re tla le trophy. Re tshepa le hore premier o tlo le feletsa ka tsamaile maqheku a hae. Under program 3, children and families, allow me to present the following services. Services to children. We successfully, Honorable Speaker, managed to migration of the ECD function to the Department of Basic Education in the 2021-22 financial year. We need to acknowledge posthumously our colleague and comrade former MEC Tate Pulemakwe, who played a vital role towards seeing the not too easy task to completion. Indeed, Comrade Tate Makwe left an indelible mark. Re re ho yena moya wa hae o robala ka khotso, Mr. Simply the best. Ene re dumela hore ntate Makalo o tla ipusha terene ena. Madam Speaker, the department remains the custodian of the Children's Act and has the responsibility to ensure that the children's rights are protected and that all people working with children are vetted accordingly. Together with the Department of Education, we ensure the screening and vetting of all those who work with children. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, re tlo sebetsa le di-union kaofela tsa matitjhere kaofela ba e leng hore ba sebetsa le bana re kgathetse ke ho fumana diripoto le di-case tse hlobaetsang boroko tsa matitjhere kgahlano le bana. Jwale re mo ba leng teng re tlo sebetsa le Department of Education, re tlo ba veta re be re ba screen hore are they suitable to can stand in front of our learners na ho avoid dintho tse re kopanang le tsona. For the 2023-24 financial year, we have allocated 139.81 million for the programs that will ensure provision of services like adoptions, foster care, street children, and residential care to children in need of care and protection. Ditshebeletso tsena motsamaisi wa dipuisano tsa tlhokomelo le tshireletso ya bana di tla nama ho fihla dibakeng tseo di sa fihleng e le mapolasing le ditoropong tse nyane. Hobane re elelletse hore lefapha le tshitlehile haholo ditoropong tse kgolo. Ha o sheba ditoropo tse kgolo, ha o tloha baneng re focusitse ditoropong tse kgolo ene re lebetse hore le mapolasi lona hona le bana ba rona mo. Jwale lefapha le tlo kena ka hara mapolasi le ditoropong tse nyane jwalo ka bo Arlington, jwalo ka bo Stainsrose, jwalo ka bo Edenville, jwalo re tlo kena re bona hore ditshebeletso tsa bana di a fihla le teng, re se ke ra concentrate bo Velkom fela. I take this opportunity to thank social workers who, despite limited resources, continue to selflessly provide much-needed services to vulnerable children and families. I have committed to meet with all of them in this financial year and understand their plight. Whilst ke lakatsa hore ke ba lebohe di-social workers tsa rona tse sebetsang ka thata tlasa maemo a e leng hore a na le diphephetso tse ngata. Under substance abuse, Department of Social Development is mandated to provide comprehensive services for the combating of substance abuse aimed at demand and harm reduction through prevention, early intervention, and reintegration programs in terms of the Prevention of and Treatment for Substance Abuse Act 70 of 2008. Our department, the National Department of Social Development, will, in part, traditional authority and Maluti Apofung local municipality, establish a harm mufusanyana haholo Maluti Apofung in a little pepeso substance abuse ho feta di-district tse teng ka hara province ya rona ya Kroonstad. Ke ka hona le bonang ebile re etsa harm reduction center hore whilst re na le other rehabilitation centers ha re be le harm reduction center e leng hore ba ya kena di-client tsa rona di tla kena ebe di a tswa ha se ba e le hore ba lo kena moshwelele re ba bitsa ka hore ke outpatients mme re tlo etsa that center ko Qwaqwa mme re rata ho leboha le public works hore e a re thusa. Honorable Speaker, the Department of Social Development will continue to fight the problem of substance abuse in the province. In this financial year, we set aside 8.5 million for funding of NPOs to render substance abuse prevention, service treatment services, and reintegration aftercare services. The month of September is globally dedicated for commemoration of alcohol fatal syndrome, and the Department of Social Development will this year go to Kwakwatsi to provide prevention services to the families and individuals affected by the abuse of alcohol. Lo hana monu di rapporto di re boleletse hore Kwakwatsi kwanana tsela e ho nwang ke tahi ka teng boemo ba teng bo phahame ka tsela e makatsang e tshosang. Jwale re le lefapha ha re eng re lo thiba ntho e re bonang e tshala kopisi e sa le ka nako e se re bana ba rona ba fela ba qetwa ke botawa. Charlotte Maxeke Treatment Center in Botshabelo continues to be functional. It provides a 12-week treatment program for adults and 8 weeks for adolescents, admitting services users from all 5 districts in the Free State province. The center has built partnerships with Motel TVET on skills development programs. This is to empower service users with skills to utilize upon discharge from the program. The department also works with Botshabelo Digital Hub to give short courses on skills development at Charlotte Maxeke Treatment Center. Bayers Nodie Halfway House has since admitted 115 service users who completed treatment program. Honorable Speaker, Bayers Nodie is one of the critical centers in the province, and the best for that matter, because it is the only center in the country based in the Free State only. It means it accommodates all the clients from all the different provinces within the country. And Ramotlotlo le Kroonstad, empa ke bikarabelo ba rona hore Bayers Nodie le yona e phahamiso hobane hona le diphephetso ngata hona mo Bayers Nodie. Under Victim Empowerment Program, the fight against gender-based violence remains top of the priority for the department in the previous financial year. The department was able to launch a GBV shelter, and that shelter is in Sasolburg and also in Qwaqwa. The department will, in this financial year, launch a shelter in Kharib district, Kofifontein. 690,000 has been set aside to ensure that the shelter complies with all required norms and standards. This will mean that all districts in the Free State have a shelter for victims of crime and violence. We are grateful to our partnership with the Department of Public Works, once again, Medibulelo, for donating a house for the establishment of this shelter. Furthermore, we have allocated an amount of 569,000 for the operationalization, the safe house for victims of gender-based violence in Botshabelo, in Maung Metropolitan Municipality, ensuring we provide emergency response to the victims and their children. Safe house will be utilized for emergency responses, and victims will be accommodated for maximum period of a week. Under social behavior change program, if the social ills requires investing in prevention programs, a budget of 5.9 million is available for 2023-24 as part of earmarked funding for the expansion and furtherance of social and behavior programs. These programs are an all-rounder that tackles all aspects of social ills through a compendium package of sub-programs. For purpose of making an impact, the department will review the current NPOs rendering the social behavior change programs. Re atla di NPO le tla re tshwarela re tlo le popola re batla bona gore ntse le tsa mosebetsi o nepahetseng na le re tshwarele re atla ha se hampe. For the financial year 2023-24 Child Protection Week, the department intends to launch CHOMI and YOLO programs in Fixback, which will be part of the 365 days child care and protection integrated program. Re rata ho hlalosa hape hore re fumanetse hore hona le diphepeso tse ngata mane Fixback ha ho tloha tabeng ya bana. Jwale this program tsa CHOMI and YOLO di tlo thusa hore re bana bao ka bo bona ka bo bona bana bao ba develop di programs hobane re rata ho developela bana di program re ba etsetse diqeto empa bana e se di program tse bona ba di thabela. They are going to tell us hore na bona ba batla hore na re etseng ka bona re allow bana their independence hore le bona ba participate bophelong ba bona. Therefore we are coming to Fixback. This program aims to strengthen preteens' sense of self-worth, sense of purpose, and personal values. It equips the target group with knowledge, skills, and values to make responsible choices and decrease of HIV infections. The department also aims to intensify and strengthen partnership with external stakeholders such as the USAID government to government, that is G2G program. This partnership will yield positive results in addressing social ills associated to HIV and AIDS and gender-based violence. Furthermore, the partnership will create about 55 job opportunities of the youth in Lejwe and Thabo Mofutsanyana. The G2G agreement with USAID will be in existence until 2026. Madam Speaker, in order to ensure the empowerment and reform of children in conflict with the law in our secure care centers, the department will introduce creative arts and programs and developmental programs under women development. For the 22-23 financial year, the department provided support to 2 women development cooperatives based in Zastron and Qwaqwa. The 2 organizations, the 3 cooperatives in Twelem Fijian women who will have otherwise been left unemployed and destitute. Additionally, the department will allocate 1.4 million towards further support of 5 other women development cooperatives in the province. 1 per district. 33 work opportunities will be created through this endeavor, bring the total work opportunities to be created under this program to 60. Kamanswama re tlo eketsa di cooperatives tse leng hore di ntse di le teng ka ra Kroonstad. Jwalo ka e le sello sa premier hore re bona hore di cooperatives di are established. Under expanded public works program, the transfer of the ECD programs from the Department of Social Development to the Department of Education and Training led to a notable reduction of work opportunities and FETs created by Department of Social Development. Compared to the 6,000 plus work opportunities that we had managed to create in the previous financial year, we have managed to create 1,300 work opportunities from both the incentive grant and the equitable share allocation. Under poverty alleviation and sustainable livelihood, the department continues to partner with NPOs to implement poverty reduction initiatives to give vulnerable households access to nutritious meals and developmental programs, while also facilitating the linkage of cooperatives with economical opportunities. To this effect, 9.6 million was spent in the previous financial year to sustain the existing community nutrition and development centers, CNDCs, and establish 4 new ones in a bid to extend the footprint of the department. Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Royal Houses of Bakwena in Qwaqwa, Batlokwa, also in Qwaqwa and Barolong Boseleke in Tabanchu for graciously working with the department to establish 3 of the new CNDCs, ensuring that an additional 678 individuals were given access to nutritious meals in the last 2 quarters of the financial year 2022-23. Under Food and Clothing Bank, Honorable Speaker, in the previous budget speeches, Honorable Speaker, we had committed to complete the provincial food and clothing bank at the Hamilton House in Bloemfontein. We are proud to announce that the renovation of the structure allocated by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure has been completed and will be calling out for proposal for sustainable NPOs for the operationalization of the center in the current financial year. We will work, Honorable Speaker, with our sister Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs on the Disaster Relief Center and ready the province for the disaster response. Under Youth Development, Speaker, as part of developing and implementing support programs for youth in the Free State Province, we spent 622,000 to provide support to 2 youth organizations in the food security sector in Qwaqwa. The organizations, Albumen Agriculture Primary Cooperative, is involved in the poultry industry, specializing in the sale of eggs, while Makwan Arts and Food Security Organization specializes in crop farming. The focus for this year is to ensure that the 2 organizations can establish solid linkages and relations through which they can sell their produce. We must ensure that the organizations are stronger and are expanding 5 years down the line, creating further employment for young people. Under poverty alleviation through social grants, in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the provisions of social assistance in the form of social grants is one of government's major programs to mitigate the impact of poverty among the most vulnerable people. Priority focus is put on children, older persons, and persons with disability. The department agency, the South African Social Security Agency, SASSA, disburses various social grants as part of government's poverty alleviation efforts. Honorable Speaker, the following increments were announced by the National Minister of Finance during his budget speech in February 2023. The increase will be effected on the 1st of April 2023 and the 1st of October respectively. I will not go through those increments. During the 2022-23 financial year, Honorable Speaker, National Development Agency, in collaboration with DSD, managed to access over 400 civil society organizations to determine interventions to be made, and the following achievements were realized. I will not go through them, Honorable Speaker, as they are also reflected in the budget speech. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to indicate the following. Funding for the following project is at conceptual stage and will also be undertaken by NDA during 2023-24 financial year. Bakwena, CNDC's Thabo Mofutsanyana Malutia Phofung, Eleng Khora na Mahadi will also be funded by NDA. By Tshepi Thabo Mofutsanyana Hape, Honorable Speaker, will also be funded. Iphamiseng Trust Non-Profitable Coalition in Mangaung Metro, Dumelanang ECD in Kharipi, Riarabesi CNDC in Matlantwang Itikeng Self-Help Project Lejoluputswa will also be funded by National Development Agency. Honorable Speaker, it is prudent to talk of our footprint in Kroonstad where we are today. Hobane ba ai ba Kroonstad le bona ba tlo batla ho tseba hore le mona impa lona le resisa eng. The total number of social grants, excluding SRD, which is the 350 in Kroonstad, is 92 million paid to the tune of 89 million per month. Social development is also investing 8.1 million in Kroonstad for provision of services, and they are as follows, Honorable Speaker. Services to older person, 1.4 million. Services to families, 125. Services to persons with disabilities, 328. Child care and protection, 1.85 million. HIV and AIDS, 1.5 million. Poverty alleviation, 268,000. EPWP incentive grants, 1.358 million. Total investment here in Kroonstad, in Mokhaka, particularly in Kroonstad only, it is 8 million, Honorable Speaker. In conclusion, I wish to thank and appreciate the support of our Honorable Premier Ntate Mokolo Sidikwana, and wish him well in his tenure as the Premier of the province and the Executive Council. Let us appreciate with gratitude the work and support of the Portfolio Committee on Education, Health and Social Services and the Provincial Public Accounts Committee. I wish to thank senior management team led by Advocate T.J. Path, who currently acts capably as the head of department in these challenging times. I also wish to thank all the employees of the Department of Social Development who continuously strive to render services to the best of their abilities. We believe that the majority of our public servants serve our people with diligence and commitment, and we also applaud them, Honorable Speaker, for the excellent work they do. Most importantly, special thanks to my family and friends for their continued support at all times. Speaker, we hereby table the budget of the department for 2023-24 financial year. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC. Yes, Honorable Members, we proceed to debates on Honorable MEC's order on a presentation vote of the social development. I will call to the podium Honorable Tsiu, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, to address the House.
Kaleboha Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable Members of the Provincial Legislature, Honorable Members of the Executive Council, Executive Mayors, Speakers, Councillors, the House of Traditional Leaders, the Director General and heads of departments and senior managers that are here in all spheres of government, the representatives of NPOs and broader civil society, members of business fraternity, leaders and representatives of organized labor, media houses that are here, esteemed guests, Bahesudumelang. We stand here to support the budget as presented by MEC Koloi. And we also want to applaud you for appointment in this department. And we know that you are capable to run with the baton. We are glad that you reflected on the plans that you have presented in your budget speech, and we think they are indeed relevant. You have reflected on your plans in the budget speech, and We said we are supporting this vote 7 as presented. The plans are relevant and you are committed to innovatively do more with the limited budget that we have just presented. That has been decreased by the whole 3.6%. Under Program 1, Honorable Speaker, we note and appreciate the improved audit outcome of the department of the previous financial year 2021-2022 to unqualified with findings. We know that, and MEC said so, that the department aspires to do more to get clean audit, and it is possible. We also note the improvement in the percentage of employees that are employed in this department, employees with disability. And this is going to be, it must serve as an example to other departments. We also note and acknowledge that more critical posts will be filled in this financial year. The department is also looking at the fact that the LGBTQI community are not left out. We are happy and proud that the department has finally managed to settle the ENGO account, which was causing the department to experience fruitless expenditure because of high interest charges against the department. We note again with interest the plans of the department to renovate the residential institutions. This means that the department will ensure that children, people with disability, and older persons that are residents in the facilities are housed in convenient, habitable conditions. And these residences must comply with the norms and standards. And as a portfolio committee, we will ensure that that happens. We applaud the department for prioritizing women companies in their procurement. The department has planned to invest 15.1 million in these women companies. And this says a lot about the department and women empowerment. They are also looking at co-ops in Zastron, Kwakwa, Tueling, and Virginia, including 5 new women co-ops in this financial year, where 1.4 million will be invested. And we will indeed, as a portfolio committee, visit 2 youth organizations and others specializing with crop. Those that are special, one of them is specializing with poultry, and the other is specializing with crop farming, including the 5 youth projects that are valued at 3.4 million, as ensuring that you make sure that there is career development in your department. We urge and encourage the department to expand these programs of empowerment to all the towns of Free State. And it will also be good to partner with DISTIA to ensure that the protective workshops that the department is talking about under disabilities, we believe that the social development is critical in ensuring that children are protected, because we know that they are vulnerable. Under the program 4, re a tseba hore bothata bo boholo bo naha ka bophara e shebaneng le bona ke bona ba tshebediso e mpe ya tahi le dithethefatsi. Ho ya kgathatsa MEC Koloi ho utlwa hore ho a kgothatsa ho bona ho utlwa hore department e ikemiseditse ho lwana ntwa ena ho fihlela e hlola, hobane re a dumela ebile re a bona hore bokamoso ba bana ba rona bo le ruthu ka lebaka la dithethefatsi le tshebediso e mpe ya tahi. Mme re kgothaletsa setjhaba le bohle hore a re sebedisaneng mmoho le mmuso, re tshwarisane matsoho ho lwana le ntwa ena ya tshebediso e mpe ya tahi le dithethefatsi. Ho kgothatsa haholo ho utlwa hore department e ikemiseditse ho sebetsa le di-traditional leaders, ka hona le batswadi ba tla be ba le teng ntweng ena, ha re sebetse re le bang. E nngwe hape re a tseba pandemic ke ena ya GBV eo le yona department e ikemiseditseng ho ilwana ka matla. Empa re a tseba hore ha o no ba bonolo ho department ho hlola ntwa ena haebe re sa sebetse mmoho re le setjhaba re thuse department hore e hlole dintwa tsena tseo re bonang hore di tla imela naha ha nako e ntse e ya. Funding NPOs is also job creation for the people, and re thabela hore department e santsane e ikemiseditse le ka motsotso ona ho etsa bonnete ba hore e funda di NPO. Ho mpang ho kgathatsa MEC kore tse ding tsa di NPO ha di etse seo ba tlameileng ho di etsa, mme ho tla ba bohlokwa hore as the portfolio committee re di tjhakele di NPO tsena ho etsa bonnete ba hore ditjhelete tseo e bang lefapha le di isa ho bona le di tsetela ho bona di etsa tseo ba itseng ba tlo di etsa, mme re bone di thusa department hore di tle di atlehe mandating wa bona ho etsa bonnete ba hore ba lwantsha tlala. Tabeng ya di shelter tse tlotla di ntlafatswa re thabela ho MEC, mme re a leboha ho bona hore indeed o ikemiseditse hore batho ba rona ba dule moo ho leng safe, moo ho hlokahalang hore ba ka dula teng. Mme re le portfolio committee e tlo sebetsa mmoho le lefapha lane la bophelo ho etsa bonnete ba hore baimana ba rona ba tseba hore motho a mmeleng ha tlameha hore a sebedise tahi hobane ha lematse yena fela, empa o lematsa le lesea leo la le jereng, mme bana bao ba tla ba sa itekamanela e tlo ba morwalo ho department ya social development. Ha re thusaneng setjhaba sa heso re tloheleng ho sebedisa tahi. Poverty reduction initiatives in mitigating factors and conditions of livelihood ke nngwe ya dintho tseo department e tsetelang ho tsona e di supportang, mme re a leboha MEC Koloi ho bona hore le ikemiseditse hore re lwantshe tlala ka hohle hohle. As we mentioned before, Madam Speaker, the global economic situation is affecting all, not just this country. Our country cannot ignore to take care of children, older persons, and persons with disabilities. The cost of living is increasing and it necessitates adjustment in the budget. But indeed, we have seen that the budget of social development has been reduced, but they are innovative enough to make sure that they will cover and do what they need to do to make sure that they deliver on their mandate. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Klute.
Thank you, Speaker. I think we should start to thank each and every social worker, community worker, and caregiver, and each and every one that is involved in social work. It's also good to hear the outstanding amount to ENGO has been settled, so hopefully we can close that chapter now. Speaker, let's make it very clear. Much of the issues or the evils this department is tasked to tackle does not distinguish. Substance abuse does not distinguish. Violence against women and children does not distinguish in as much race, color, or creed. Poverty does not distinguish. See, what COVID taught us is that at any time in our lives, what we regard as normal can be ripped from us and we are left with very little. It also taught us that skin color cannot be used as a generalization or generalized indication of being previously disadvantaged. Skin color can also not be used as a condition for empowerment. Socioeconomic conditions like poverty, unemployment, and a lack of access to quality education, that should be the criteria for empowerment. Furthermore, growth and development are the only sustainable methods of empowerment, and over-dependence on the state is simply not sustainable. Unemployment in the province remains high, and maybe the sister department we are also debating today, the STIA should also be held accountable for the poor provincial growth rate. Ultimately, poverty reduction initiatives should be focused on economic growth. We need substance abuse treatment centers such as Charlotte Makeke, but the reality is that overcrowding is a reality unless the people of the province are not empowered. Now, on the topic of substance abuse, I recently spoke to a social worker who indicated to me the biggest threat to our province is drug and alcohol abuse. And in most cases of violence against women and children, substance abuse was a contributing factor. Now, to fix this is no easy task, MEC, and it's a noble cause. In fact, anyone who thinks he has a very quick fix is a little bit out of touch of reality. It's an old age problem, or rather age-old problem since the dawn of humankind. But I will repeat what I said during the debate last year. Ask any rehabilitated person what his or her rescue was and still is, and they will tell you a good program to follow, support from their friends and families, and work. Ultimately, Speaker, we need to get people working. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Klute. Honorable Chabalala.
Mohlomphehi motsamaisi wa dipuisano, re ke nke monyetla le sebaka ke dumedise mohlomphehi tonakgolo Ntate Mxolisi Dukwane le matona a hae kaofela, ditho tsohle tsa lekgotla la ketsamolao ya Kroonstad, bo majoro ba rona ba teng kwana, nkeke ka le qolla ka mabitso, ke le hlomphile. Makhansela a rona a teng kwano, marena bohle ba lokelwang ke tlhompho, batho ba bohlokwa haholoholo maphelong a rona, setjhaba sa rona, ke re kgotso. Honorable Speaker, the African National Congress has a strong commitment to social development, and we view it as a key aspect of our vision for a just and equitable society. Rauleboa Honorable Metsi Dikoloi, ka ditekanyetso tseo seng o di tekile kwano, ebile le nna ke ema ke le setho sa lekgotla la ketsamolao, empa pele ho ba setho sa lekgotla la ketsamolao ke setho sa mokgatlo moholo wa African National Congress, ke ema mona ebile ke supporta budget ya hao mme wa ka. The ANC believes that social development should be a priority area for government, and that there should be a comprehensive and integrated approach to addressing social challenges. Our glorious movement, the ANC, has long recognized the need for dedicated Department of Social Development to coordinate and implement policies and programs aimed at improving the quality of life. Honorable MEC Tsidikoloi, nna ke nahana hore wena le HOD ya hao le lokela ho etsa bonnete ntle le tshabo, ebile ke maketse ka ke ne ke bona screen mane, Honorable Speaker, mara se le sa lokiswa. Ke ne se ke nahanne hore dikgomo tsa ha tshiusedile ka lehlakoreng la ntate mara ba le ba lokisa lebitso moo. Jwale ne ke utlwa ke thabetse ha Honorable Klute a bua ditaba tse nepahetseng ebile a supporta le lefapha lena. Lefapha lena ke le bohlokwa haholo bophelong ba rona, ke lefapha leo ka nnete re lokelang ho etsa bonnete ntle le tshabo. Ho bona bothata ba rona MEC Koloi, re na le tshabo ha re sebeletsa setjhaba, hobane re tshaba bana ba ka lehlakoreng la letsoho le letshehadi hore mohlomong ba tla bua. Mosebetsi wa bona ko bua, mara sa rona ko etsa bonnete ba hore ditekanyetso tseo re di beileng pela setjhaba re ske ra iphumana re sa di atlehise, hobane re tlo fetoha batho ba sena nnete mahlong a setjhaba. Under the anti-gang strategy, Honorable Speaker, the ANC welcomed the comprehensive anti-gang strategy presented by the Honorable MEC. The strategy is aimed at addressing the problems of gang-related violence in our localities. Jwale re re mmoho le setjhaba mmoho le batswadi ba rona a re etseng bonnete ba hore re a kopanang re bangatana e le nngwe ho sebeletsa setjhaba ntlheng ena ya di anti-gang. Honorable Speaker, on the funding on NPOs, ANC amohela ho eketsa ha phumano ya mekgatlo e sa etseng phaello. Sena ke hobane ba na le seabo sa bohlokwa sa ho sebetsana le diphephetso tsa kahisano le moruo tseo ditjhaba tsa Afrika Borwa di tobaneng le tsona. Jwale re a amohela Honorable MEC, ebile re a tshepa e nngwe ya dikarolo tseo re tlo di etsa ke le setho sa komiti enana e welang ka tlase ho yona ko etsa bonnete ba hore di NPO kaofela tse sa le di fuwa ditjhelete re lokela hore ke re di etele re bone hore na di etsa mosebetsi o ba tlamehang ba o etse hobaneng di NPO, Honorable MEC, ka wena Honorable Speaker, ke tsona tse thusang mmuso wa rona ho fihlella setjhaba hobane mmuso o keke wa hira batho kaofela. Ke ka hoo di NPO di lokela ho bapala karolo e bohlokwa ho tjhentjha maphelo a batho. Now our NPOs, we are urging them, Honorable Speaker, hore MEC must take cautious decision to train the NPOs, professionalize the NPOs, di etse hore le tsona e be di NPO tse tla tshwana le di NPO tse teng tse kgolokgolo ka hare ho Freistata le South Africa in fact. So re imatahanya le taba eno ebile re a leboha ka tseno tse ntle tseo di entseng tseo o di lekantshitseng hore o tlo di etsa. Honorable Speaker, the ANC has implemented a number of measures to support NPOs, including the establishment of non-profit directorate to provide technical advice and support of NPOs, as well as the provision of funding through various government programs. The ANC also emphasizes the importance of promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance with the NPO sector. That is why we are saying the HOD must ensure that he implements what the MEC has said. And ke ka ho setjhaba sa rona se keke sa bona re le mmuso o sa tsotelleng ha fela our HODs would understand that the implementation is very important, but which is also aligned to our legal frameworks. The substance abuse prevention program. The ANC government continue to appreciate the devastating effects of substance abuse on individuals, families, and communities. As such, we must advocate for prevention and treatment initiatives that addresses the root causes of addiction and provide support to those in need. Re a kopa hle letona la rona le Khabane ha re ka etsa bonnete fela ba hore di NPO tse sebetsanang le taba ena ya drug abuse le tsona hleng a di nkellwe hloohong hobane bana ba rona ba nkuwe ke dithethefatsi matsatsing ana hona jwale. Bana ba rona ba nkuwe ke dinyaope ka lebaka la hore tse ding tsa dintho re le mmuso re keke ra kgona ho di fihlela. So let us use these structures to ensure. That is why I'm calling upon the MEC to professionalize all our NPOs to look like the real NPOs of government and ensure that we support them fully. We, the African National Congress, believe that the social development plays an integral in the building a better South Africa for all. We understand that the budget is more than just numbers. It is a tool for ensuring that we allocate sufficient resources to meet the needs of our people, particularly the most vulnerable and marginalized. Today, we have engaged in the robust debate around the social development budget. We are pleased to note that there is a consensus among all parties that we need to invest more in education, healthcare, social services, and other critical areas to ensure a more equitable and prosperous society. We acknowledge that there may be differences in opinion regarding the allocation of the resources, but the ANC is committed to ensure that every rand is spent efficiently and effectively to benefit the people of the Free State. We firmly believe that the social development budget is not just an expense, but rather an investment in our future by prioritizing the need of our people, we can build a re le mokgatlo ona o tshwereng puso. Re tla etsa bonnete ba hore setjhaba sa rona se sebeletswa ke mafapha ka botshepehi le ho etsa bonnete ba hore setjhaba le sona se be accountable, Honorable MEC ka wena, Honorable Speaker. Hobane the most of the NPOs tse ileng tsa fuwa ditjhelete ha se hangata re etsang oversight ho checka bonnete ba hore di fihlella seo mmuso o se planetseng. So ke ka ho ke reng kgothaletswe re etsang tjhaba sa heso. The NPOs, they've got capacity to employ, and the NPOs, they've got capacity to change the lives of our people. Ke ka ho ke thabetseng le taba ena e bohlokwa ya di cooperatives. And ke a tshepa tona kgolo o la bua ka ntho ya di cooperatives, and we are going to make cooperatives to be alive than to speak and slogan ka tsona. But ke a tshepa, Honorable Speaker, hore the Honorable MEC Koloi o tla etsa bonnete ba hore o fihlella tse ngata ka ho ke re pele ya pele. Ke a leboha.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, we once more don't have somebody to debate. In fact, the economic freedom fighters are still not in the House, as it has been a trend since the beginning of this appropriation bill process. But I need to inform the House that the matter has been referred to Ethics Committee. We are hoping that Ethics Committee is going to do its work so that we can come and report to the House. I will now call Honorable Litsuha Matai to come and address the House.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier Deputy Speaker, Chief Whip of Majority Party, Honorable Members, Leader of the Opposition, Traditional Leaders, Bo Majoro Barola, Le Councillor ba teng tsatsing lena, le baeti ba rona ba tlileng kopanong ena ya rona, ke a le dumedisa. Madam Speaker, I'm taking this podium to support and appreciate the good work this department is doing. A caring organization such as the African National Congress demand of us to build a caring society where women and children will be treated with dignity. It was on the 27th of April, 1994, when the dignity of the masses of our people, particularly black people, was defended and restored. As we'll be celebrating this historic day, we remember Mama Winnie Mandela, a social worker by profession. She used her skill, talent, and played a significant role in social transformation activism and impacted positively in the development of African children. On this note, Speaker, ke leboha lefapha ka tshepiso ya bona ya ho atleisa kapa ho nyolla lenane la di social worker departmenteng tsena tsa bona selemong sena sa ditjhelete e lo ntshetsa mosebetsi ona wa mme Winnie Madikizela Mandela pele. Re hopola hore ha o sena di social worker mathata ba mangata ka hara metse ya rona le bana ba tshwantseng ba fosteruwe e ba challenge hobane di social worker di tshwantse be tsona tse etelang malapa di be di lo sheba hore na mo ba lo dulang teng maemo a teng a jwang. So re tholetsa lefapha haholo ka mosebetsi o motle o. Maybe le ntse re tshwerere freedom ena e re buang ka one re filweng ke bona bo mme Winnie Madikizela Mandela bana ba re fa matla hore ebe re eme mona tsatsing lena re lokolla kapa re hlokomela bana be long hore ba hloka tshehetso ya di social workers kaofela ba la re bua ka di drugs abuse re bua ka di social workers ha re bua ka foster children re bua ka di social workers. Speaker, allow me to pay homage and my regards to many other heroes and heroines, especially our forebears who were steadfast on their conviction to condemn and reject apartheid regime. To affirm my point, at talk of Solomon Mahlangu, even when he was facing death, he never compromised on his mission and he spoke freedom for his people. I talk of Bram Fisher, who was a white man but chose to be on the side of the oppressed of South Africa. Their freedom did not come cheap. Black people in our township paid with their lives. Some disappeared and still they are not being accounted for. by the de Klerk regime. Unlike Honorable Klote, who stood here today and said nothing, because issues that are affecting our people, tse leng hore ke rona batho ba batsho, tse leng hore re lla ka tsona, ha di a mo affecta, ha le bone a buile motsotso wa le mong fela ba itsamela. So ha bua letho, una re fela o teng speaker o mo note hobane what you are raising, what this department is doing, ha bua ka mmalaka o tseba hantle hore le a re ya dintlong tsane tsa maqheku re ntse re fumana mo ileng hore maqheku a rona a rona ntsa dula kwana. Ha o ka ya ka o tsena tsa bona, you'll forever remain on the waiting list hobane ha ba batlo lo kena mo. So a ska ba re jwetsa hore khala ha e bapale karolo, it plays a major role. Re mo re leng teng ka tsona tseno ha ona mo ntate makalo ntate meko a kenang teng mo o tseba hantle hore na re mona mo re leng teng hobane ho tlile jwang. Ke ka hona today a sa batlo lo sebedisa metsotso ya mehlano hore a bue le rona tsatsing lena. Ha o bone le yona ditsamaiso tsena ka ha re tlo etsa diphetiso tsena tsa di vote, ha ba tlise le batho bana ba claimang ba constituency ba hobane ba re bua le lona re le bang bona, they just come here to mark a register and re tlo bua hobane re batla ho jetsa hore mmuso wa ANC o so entseng hakana o hlokometse batho ba ka mme ha ba tlo re kgathatsa matlo. Rona ANC re rumme hore re tlo billa setjhaba, will carry that struggle against poverty, inequality and underdevelopment. And ke se le fapaleng le se etsang hona jwale tje ke a gola le ke mission wa bona ka ntle ho mandate ona ANC ha ke kholo bana le matlamang. These triple challenges mentioned above continue to weaken and undermine the living standard and livelihoods of majority in our communities. Speaker, the people of Free State must derive comfort that a caring ANC government will never abandon them. It will always use all the necessary means to address their problems. Hence, the budget vote tabled by this Department of Social Development is biased to the poor of the poorest. It is deliberately designed to lift up the poor, the old aged, the orphans, the children, and people with disabilities from the gloom of harsh economic distress. Ke ka hona he le tona ke tlo ipiletsa lo portfolio committee ya rona ha re tsweng letsholo re lo tsebisang setjhaba sa rona ka ditshebelletso tse leng teng mona e re ha re bua ka old age grant, ha re bua ka CSG, ha re bua ka foster care, ha re bua ka disability, ha re bua holo ka bo grant aid in Melitona e le hore batho ba bangata ba rona o tlo fumana ba sa etse hore ha o so hlokometse motho a gola pension hona le ena engwe re ikenyang re re ke grant in aid hobane wena o hlokomela motho ba e apply le ke a bona ke mmuso wa African National Congress wa deliver le ena ya care dependency honorable member ha re tsweng letsholo re etse di road show mo re tlo ba tsebisang ka tsona hore ha ntse ba batla airtime ya top up le lefapha lena last year ka June le la tla ka engwe ya re a top up ho ba hlokomedi e bitswa top up le yona ha re tla setjhabeng re tlo ba tsebisa ka hona grant eo e teng ba e sebedise. Le social relief of distress re hloka ho unpack batho ba utlwisise. Premier ke tlola ke shebila batho ba tla balla ba batla bana di uniform ba re etsetsa di message ha re tleng setjhaba re ba jwetsa hore social relief of distress ina le package ya bana ba sokolang hore le yona uniform ya sekolo e tswe hona mo ke African National Congress fela e ka tlang ka that policy. Speaker, let me cite one of the basic documents of the ANC, which is Freedom Charter, when it says the aged, the orphans, the disabled, and the sick shall be cared for by the state. Me mandate yo sisaqhuba nangoku sisakuphethe. In keeping with this profound principle of the Freedom Charter, Honorable Speaker, social security of our people remains one of our priorities. We believe retirement will contribute positively initiatives of persons living with disabilities. Obane le teng re tshwantse re tsebise batho ba rona hore disability ha e bolele hore ha o kgone ho etsa letho. So re thabela lefapha lao ka ho tlo rotloetsa batho hona le dintho tse ngata hobane disability e na le mekga e leng hore teng ha se ka grant ya disability batho ba ka phelang ka ona re o tswele pele mme Koloi o re bontshitse hore o tswa mokgatlong o moholo o kgathallang batho. Even those speaker who never thought they would be cared for under this government, their dignity is guaranteed. Our pensioners and the old age are reaping the rewards of their hard and freedom. Our towns and townships through the department facilities and centers are being erected year in and year out that caters for these needs. Madam Speaker, these are milestones and achievements by the Department of Social Development to look after this elderly and the old aged. Mary, as the portfolio committee, as you do your oversight, re mahlakore ka bobedi, re lo shebang hore na ka lehlakore lane le bona di old age tsa bona di eme jwang ho ska ga tla ka o tsena tsa rona fela bana le bona bana lo pata bohlaswa re nahane hore ba etsa hantle hobane re nahana hore ba fapane le rona re shebeng ka mahlakore kaofela re be re lo lwantshang the transformation itself ele fela ntwena and as modula motsamaisi wa dipuisano engwe e tshwantseng re shebe haholo ha re mme ke tholetsa hape lefapha ka go kgothaletsa maqheku le maqhekwana a rona nka karolo dipapading hobane ka nnete tla improve maphelo a bona. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano ka jone re ikotla sefuba ka lefapha lena hobane re bone matlo ana ha eketswa le mane Thabantsho hore re lefapha le kgathallang ka ona re ipiletsa fela hore re mpe re eketse ana elong hore a thusa bana ba rona ba nkuweng ke dithethefatsi ha re no fetsa di buitse mammona ka ofela tsa African National Congress ho bua ntho ile nngwe re hatella re itoboketsa haholo ya dithethefatsi bane dithethefatsi di senya bokamoso ba bana ba rona le ha re tlo re ka nnete ke neng ba ibua le yana o ibuile re tlo ibua hobane ke eng ya dintho tse senyang future bana ba rona mme mafapha kaofela re a tshepisa Metsidi Koloi hore re tlo sebetsa le wena ho leka hore re ntshe barekisi bana ba dithethefatsi ka hara metse ya rona hobane ba bang ra ba tseba ba bang ke bana ba rona ba bang ke di-family tsa rona ebile ba bang re ke mo ba iphandang teng re tlo sebetsa mo seponesa le mafapha mang hore ka nnete re ntshe bana re ntshe barekisi bana ba dithethefatsi ka hara metse ya rona me Koloi le motsamaisi wa dipuisano ke kopa re ska ra shebella fela di programong tsena tsa di television re mmuso ha re ska ra etsetswa mosebetsi ke batho ba bang ha re batho bana ka maponesa a rona ka batho ba rona re ska ra emela Sizokuthola e tlo re jwetsa hore hona le di-drugs ka hara metse ya lona. Haibo ke batla go khutlela hanyane fela ho tabeng ena ya Ntate Tluta ya buileng ka yona.
Please pause, Honorable MEC. Ke kopa o etsa boipiletso ho setjhaba sa rona se teng kwano. Eya, ho ya ka melao ya rona, re lebitsitse hobane constitution le melao e re sebedisang e re kgothaletsa hore ha re etsa di-process tsena tsa parlamente, setjhaba sa rona se tshwantse se be teng mare se tlela ho tlo observer. Ho ya ka melao ya rona ho na le decorum of the house e tshwantseng re observe ka nako tsohle. Jwale hape ho ya ka melao batho ba tshwantseng ba nke karolo kapa ba participate ke di-members tse teng kwano. Ena ha se kopano e tlwaelehileng e tshwana le court of law. In a court of law there are things that you cannot do because it is governed by the law. So ke ne ke kopa hore ha o thabela ka hare ngwaneso le ha o kwatela ka hare so that ho ska ba le medidietsana le matsoho le di-comments. Ke a le kopa tswetswe ha sore ha re le thabele boteng ba lona kwano empa re tshwanetse ka nako tsohle re etse bonnete ba hore re keepa ntwe re bitsang ka sekgowa ke decorum of the house. Ke a leboha.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo Metsotso Motsamaisi wa dipuisano Ki boele tabeng ya ka ene ke re Ntate Klute, bana ba rona ba maemong ana le a tjena kajeko lena hobane ke yona apartheid. Jwale re ska ra bua re re ha ona letho, dintho di iketsahala fela. Empa ntumella motsamaisi wa dipuisanong ke hate hape ho ye nngwe eo ke tsebang hore dipelong tsa bomme jwalo ka Mbokoto ke eme mona ke ba emetse ke ena ya ECD Ntate Makalo. Even though re itse ECD se le education, empa ntse le karolo ya rona ka di social workers, ka home affairs, ke kopa le yona re ke re emeng because ha ona ECD e tla controlwang ke education e sa qala ho mane social worker e sebeditse ha re thuseng bomme ba rona to register hore ba kgone ho sebetsa mme re ipiletse le bo masepala hore a re thuseng batho ba lakatsang ho ba le bana ka di ECD center tsena hore ba phute bana le ba fe mafatshe a nang le ditshebeletso ba tlohele ho sebeletsa mo e leng hore ha ba re ba apply-a di a rejectwa hobane ho shebuwa maemo e leng hore bana ba bona ba beuwe hona. So ke ipiletsa mafapha kaofela hape hore le yona ha la setsulwe lefapheng la social development e ntse le karolo hobane ha ona ECD e ka tsamayang sena social worker, ha ena ECD e ka tsamayang ngwana a sena certificate sa home affairs. Ka ona ke ipiletsa hore le yona re ska ra re se itswile but it's just a function shift. Re tshwantse re dule re sebedisana mmoho kaofela ka dinako tsohle re le mafapha kaofela. Ki ipiletsa la ho qetela ho tsena tsa di cooperatives motsamaisi wa dipuisano ha re ska ra senya nako re thabela di cooperatives empa re le fapa ha re di hodiseng batho ba bule di factory tse tla etsetsang bana di uniform in a district tse itseng bana ba dikolo tsa district eo ba supply from that district e sa ska ba cooperate tsena tse felang ha financial year e fela ke a leboha motho ya stu re supporta vote ya hao.
Se re lebohile MC, Honorable Lituka.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity you afford me to address this august house of the legislature. Through you, Speaker, ntumelle ke lebise tlhompho e kgolo ho marena le marenana a ibang a teng ka hara ntlo ena. Ke boele ke lebise tlhompho ho boramotse le makhanselara a ibang a teng kwana. Ke lebise tlhompho e kgolo ho basebetsi mmoho le nna ba ka hara ntlo ya ketsamolao. Speaker, I stand here today to address the House on the department whose work is highly emotive. You can't help it. The Department of Social Development is mandated by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa to meet the human and social needs of the poor and vulnerable communities of the Free State through an integrated development social service. It is tasked with the protection and development of some of the most vulnerable individuals in our society. Here, we refer to children, the youth, and young job seekers, adults struggling to make ends meet, the elderly, people with disabilities, and the institutions in our communities who are the foot soldiers of the battle against poverty and destitute. The department, by its very nature and mandate, is supposed to work closely with the community-based non-governmental organizations in order to secure social services for those who cannot provide for themselves, and it effectively managed. Such programs should improve the lives of the most vulnerable in our society. To be able to realize the mandate, the department has to exercise strict but transparent handling of the public funds than to hear from National Parliament unsettling allegations of at least 1.5 million spent on a single event by the Free State Office of the South African Social Security Agency, that is SASSA. I'm aware that SASSA is a national competence, but it does affect us because this department we are talking about today is an arm of that body. According to the source of this information, SASSA allegedly shelled out 500,000 rand on a venue and 1 million on gifts for their International Women's Day event on the 28th of March 2023. The DA will follow this up to determine why an agency who regularly fails to reliably deliver services to the country's poorest and most vulnerable citizens, and whose offices are understaffed and under-resourced, would waste crucial funds this way. Last year, the DA revealed that only 4 out of 212 SASSA offices, which were contacted nationwide, answered their telephones. The oversight revealed shocking working environments and regular system crashes that force grant beneficiaries to make multiple journeys to and fro these offices. The Minister of Social Development, Honorable Lindiwe Zulu, further confirmed this in an answer to a DA parliamentary question, in which she revealed that in the past year, a total of 435 and 175 SASSA offices experienced system and telephone problems, respectively. The problems were due to basic accounting system, social security pension system, and the biometric identification system challenges and electrical and network outages. The proper utilization of 1.5 million could have gone a long way towards improving the challenges and failures within the social development sector in the Free State. With the continuous rising cost of living, the payment days are more than just an inconvenience. They are hastening the death and destroying the hope of millions by eating into what little poor and vulnerable people have to spend on food and other necessities. It is unfortunate that the poor economic outlook of the province and the resultant shrinking tax base means that government will have less and less money to help the department. But the arrogance of the governing party continues to entrench the suffering of the Free State residents. Experience has taught me that most people don't want handouts. Most people want the dignity that comes with employment and being able to provide for their families. The most unfortunate reality, though, is that the province is slipping further away, providing this each day, and more people are becoming dependent on social grants. Fortunately, the Free State province is filled with people who are eager to assist in the areas where sometimes government does not have the capacity to reach. But in many cases, their efforts are futile, especially when this department continues to turn a blind eye on the harsh realization of the ground experienced by our people. But I thought I would start by looking at the department's performance for the programs implemented in 2022-2023. Under the program for children and families, the department has an achievement rate of an eye-watering 38%. Madam Speaker, in university terms, this represents a fail, not good enough. However, it gets worse. The department failed to achieve its target in the number of department performance reviews convened. It failed to achieve its target regarding risk management committees, meetings convened. The department failed regarding the number of disciplinary cases finalized within the prescribed time frame, and also failed regarding the number of district quarterly performance review sessions held. Madam Speaker, may I remind you that these are not targets set out by opposition parties. These are the department's own targets which they still cannot fulfill. The department underachievement is far from what it should be. One, this department underachieved in its own target of reuniting families. Two, it underachieved in its own target of children accessing registered ECD programs, although this has now been moved to the Department of Education. It is underachieved in its target of subsidizing ECDs through the conditional grants. And it again underachieved in providing care and protection of children in child and youth care centers. It is clear this department is a total failure. Mekoloi, this needs to be attended to. These are just some examples of how a great initiative with funding already secured and which has the potential to improve the lives of people in the community falls flat on the face of the ANC government. I regard this as a ticking time bomb ready to explode at any moment. Madam Speaker, the Free State is a youthful province, yet most of our youth are unemployed, on the streets joining gangs, and involved with drug peddlers. More needs to be done for the future of this province. Our youth are often the most vulnerable individuals in our society. Our youth in the province shows unmatched promise, but the ANC government continuously fails them by not fighting unemployment, by not offering effective programs that promote our youth and their skills. And they are failing our youth by adding to the ill that corruption and cadre deployment. This department has trodden on the loyalty of your supporters to advance your interests. You neglect the most vulnerable and continue to walk to the sound of trumpets as if you have accomplished something. The DA believes that opportunity is the vehicle through which all South Africans can be empowered to live lives that they value, to pursue their dreams, and to develop their full potential. This belief lies at the core of our vision of an open and equal opportunity society for all. Let us look at the backlog in this department. Madam Speaker, it is reported, scientifically so, that clients awaiting assessment in the Free State is a whopping 2,212 people. The number of the TDGs as well is a very huge number. the picture does not look good at all. The following is another example that the department is struggling with. When it comes to the disability grant backlog, those that needed to be assessed, the number is also not small. It comes to 2,212. Those who are awaiting assessment. Speaker, it may be necessary at this stage to look at what the Auditor General has to say regarding the department. Program number 1 of administration. The AG says the program has an over expenditure of 11.130 million, compensation of employees, goods and services. Program 2, social welfare services. The program had an underspending of 6.870 million, underspending. Program 3, children and families. The program underspent with 24.205 million. However, the economic classifications of employees and households overspent. You see, in those areas where they're supposed to be spending a lot, they are underspending. Program number 3, children and families. The program underspent with 24.205 million. However, the economic classification of employment and household overspent. Program 4, restorative services. The program underspent with 4.48 million. However, the economic classification of employees and households overspent. Program 5, development and research. The program underspent with 1.340 million. However, the economic classification of employees and households overspent. The AG completes her report by saying, I quote, effective oversight and consequence management is needed to improve accountability for a sustainable impact on service delivery, unquote. Speaker, one shudders when thinking of the state of our social services in the Free State. A simple example would be the total collapse of post offices service, a service that is utilized by the department to distribute vulnerable individuals' grants. The ANC government is in it to fill their pockets and leave the citizens of this province with the scraps. It has never been more evident than change is needed in this province and for our people. On the basis of the above provided information, Madam Speaker, and evidence that the DA has gathered, the DA cannot and will not support this budget. Because
Honorable members, order please.
Mafapheng a mangata, tjhelete ha ya ka ya sebediswa ho ya ka mokgwa ho neng ho reruwe ka teng. Ba entse underspend. Ha ya sebetsa ho latela maqheka a neng a beuwe fatshe. This in itself means the planning that was done does not correlate with the practice on the ground. Ka tsela eo bahaiso, Democratic Alliance ha e iphumane e ka supporta budget ena ha e le mona ho bonahala tjhelete eo ho neng ho budgetilwe ka yona e sa sebediswa kaofela ha yona. Ke a o leboha motsamaisi.
Thank you, Tatelu Tuka. Honorable MEC Mahlatsi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, the African National Congress, honorable members, people of the Free State, dumelang batho ba Mqhaka. Madam Speaker, ne ke tla qala dipuisano tsa kasheko ka hore ya potangwetse. Empa ke tlo qala moo. Madam Speaker, in recognition of the Freedom Month, let me briefly reflect with the following quote by Nkosi Chief Albert Tuli as the President of the African National Congress in 1954, when he said to the freedom fighters, I quote, "Throughout history, no freedom has come to any people without blood and sweat and tears. Africans cannot be an exception to this divine test, but take courage in the knowledge that no matter how dark the future may seem, right must triumph over wrong, and also remember that no nation or national movement has ever failed," close quote. As we celebrate the fruits of the selfless struggle during this Freedom Month, we need to recall that Africa is the initiator of civilization and that men and women of the world used to come to Africa to learn about the matters of the world, including, amongst others, the Greek philosophers. When it comes to deepening democracy, human dignity, and equality, we said in the Reconstruction and Development Program that our people, with their aspirations and collective determination, are our most important resource. In linking democracy, development, human rights, and people-centered approach, we are paving a way for a new democratic order. The thoroughgoing democratization of our society that must transform both the state and civil society is therefore an active process enabling everybody to contribute. For the ANC, the social transformation agenda is part of the continuing journey to social change that started in the form of RDP. At the center of RDP is a call for change and a systematic and socially just path to fully reconstructed, transformed, and unified society. Our approach to the overall social transformation and development is echoed on the concerted struggle against the triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment that has fragmented our society both socially and economically. The above-mentioned triple challenges have brought about many social issues such as the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide, substance abuse protection and of vulnerable groups such as children and LGBTQI+ community. Our primary focus is therefore prioritizing the rights of women, youth, children, people with disability, marginalized groups, as well as previously disadvantaged people. We aim to work tirelessly in reducing discrimination and violence against all women and children and foster gender equality in every level of society. On opportunities for youth, Madam Speaker, investing in the youth is paramount. The ANC-led government carries the important responsibility to provide support mechanism to the youth to unlock their potential. The most practical and sustainable strategy, removing youth from alcohol and drugs, is the provision of social amenities, education, and job creation. We are therefore pleased by the decision to absorb 63 social workers graduates in addition to the previous cohort of 92. We are also conscious of the fact that government, and by extension the Department of Social Development, cannot possibly resolve the issues affecting our youth on its own. Hence, it is important to rope in other social partners to assist with students who are academically qualified to enter the job market but cannot find job or cannot find work. We applaud the department's continued efforts which are dedicated towards youth mainstreaming. In terms of services to persons with disability, Madam Speaker, the ANC at its successive national conference resolved that government departments should ensure that 2% of their labor force comprise of the employment of people with disability, to ensure that the public buildings are user-friendly to people with disability, including the frequent use of sign languages and braille for those affected. We have over time assured that the state is biased towards disadvantaged and marginalized groups. To this end, we are pleased with the departments having exceeded the norm of 2% and achieving 5%. Tate Matuka ke nahana ke a hopola hore o mametse mona na hore lefapha lena le entse bonnete ba hore le bypassa 2% e government e beileng hore re etse bonnete hore batho ba rona ba phelang ka boqhwala ba hirwe ka ga lefapha lena ba se ba le ho 5%. To support the support provided towards the economic development and people living with disability who own businesses by prioritizing their companies in the procurement of goods and services. It is